What's up, everyone? It's Sound Author, and today we're taking a look at Dawesome's wavetable synth, or should I say not another wavetable synth, Kontrast. So let's just get right down to it. What is Kontrast? Why is it so cool, and what is it doing? So Kontrast basically takes wavetable scanning and tilts it on its ear. So to demonstrate, pretty much any common garden variety wavetable synth scans a wavetable in a linear fashion from beginning to end in a straight line, like so. But Kontrast basically takes the concept of wavetable scanning and tilts it on its ears. So what if I wanted to scan the Y coordinate? I could do that. What if I wanted to scan both the X and Y coordinate together in a diagonal fashion? Well, I could do that too. And plenty of other things we'll get into. But some people might think that what you see on the scan line when you get to fancy presets like this, oh, well, surely that must just be some visual eye candy to distract us from what's really going on behind the scenes. Not so. You're actually seeing what is happening to the scanning behavior of the wavetable in real time. And to prove it, I have a patch here that just has a basic saw wave that ranges from -1 to +1 phase. Now, what Kontrast does is it takes a wavetable or a sample or even just an image and converts it to a grayscale image where, if you know anything, the basics of phase is gray is 0 phase, black is -1 phase, and white is +1 phase. So this is just a simple saw wave ranging from -1 to +1 phase. So what if I wanted to traverse -1 to +1 phase, but do so along the curvature of a perfect circle? What would that sound like? Well, if you think about it, if you went from 0 to -1, back down to 0 to +1, and back around to 0 where we started, in a circular fashion, we should end up with a sine wave, which is precisely what happens. And you can see it on the scope. There we go. Perfect sine wave. So that should demonstrate that what is happening here is not just some visual eye candy. The impressive animations that you see are actually the scanning behavior of the wavetable in real time, which is very cool. So I made some patches for this wonderful synth. Let's just shut up and play. We have some macros. Very tangerine dreamy. And yes, we have a pretty powerful sequencer in this synth as well, which I'm actually very impressed by. This is a pad sound. Okay, another sequence. Very fun. Another sequence. This was a fun one to make. I wanted to make some warm, sweet sounds with this synth to just show that it isn't just for left field, way out west, unabashedly digital sounds, which are fine, but it's actually capable of some nice, warm sounds. And I went out of my way to make sure that especially the pads were velocity sensitive. So you can get pretty loud, you can play nice and quiet. I like that. So this one is interesting. Macros. I can play that one for hours. Super satisfying. And this is another old school, traditional, subtractive. Okay, so you can 80s. Okay, I always love that stuff. Some prizes with the macros. Fun patch. Got a little carried away with that macro. Changes the pitch of the shimmer. Okay, and this one is just kind of a nice FM sound. It's nice and sensitive. Okay, so I just wanted to prove that you can do nice glassy sounds, you can do nice sweet warm sounds with it. You're not just stuck with craziness, okay? You can go crazy very easily in this synth, but you don't have to get carried away with the scanning options, which is very easy to do. So this one just ended up having a piano kinda, sorta-esque timbre. It gets kind of shimmery with the mod wheel. Everything has macros. Okay, cool. So, another sequence. This plays around with something very cool with the y-axis, and it basically wraps it back around, kind of like foldback distortion or wave folding. If it goes beyond the window, it folds back in on itself, which I just really love. That's a really cool feature. I think this is another sequence. So many things happening. This is why I kind of got lazy and just called the macros X, Y, and Z, because there's so much happening when you turn a macro. It's like controlling like a dozen different things, and I got confused about what to call things. So I was like, it's X, Y, and Z. It's simpler that way. Okay. This is just another nice warm sound. Very sensitive. Very old school. Okay, and it's scanning X and Y in that diagonal fashion, which can lead to some really fun and interesting results. Another sequence. Fun. Time crystals. This was a little discovery that I made where you can actually turn up the crush amount, which is basically a bit crusher effect. But if you have phase modulation happening with some of the rose function basically introduces like petals to a circle shape. And if you crush that, you get these interesting, what I like to call broken rings. Very sensitive as well. Mod wheel. sync. Ooh, we really went ambient there. That's a really fun patch. Okay. And the final patch is just a really atonal, almost kind of horror sound. Playing around with the pitch of the shimmer effect again. So, there are my patches, and I'm still discovering this synth because it really is, as far as I know, a new concept, like actually a new idea. It's not very often that we get to actually play around with something new, like new. And as far as I know, there is no other synth that does this. And it's, like I said, it's easy to get really carried away with these different scanning functions, but it's also very possible to make sounds in a very focused, surgical way by honing in on maybe a part of a wavetable or a part of an image and playing around with different things. So yeah, I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface on what's possible here. You're really able to do some very, very special things with all of these different types of scanning behavior. So there you have it. Kontrast. I think it's a pretty unique synth. I definitely think it's worth your time. Thank you. Have a good one.